Welcome to section 4.3. And in this section, we are going to be continuing doing order of operations. However, on the bright side, this is our last official section of order of operations. There's a couple more sections to this unit, but this is our last official section of just order of operations on its own. So congratulations. And the only thing that's going to change with this section, so if we remember that abbreviation PEMDAS, we have P, E, M, D, A, S. In the previous sections, we've dealt with all of these. We've dealt with exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, but we haven't yet dealt with anything with parentheses. And that's what this section is all about. All we're doing is we're just going to add in parentheses with all the steps we've already been doing. So it's not too bad. You just have to be careful where your parentheses are. That's the only thing that we have to add now. So with that being said, let's look at our first example. We have -7 plus 3, and that is in parentheses. And then we have plus -10 plus 6. And that is also in parentheses. So what we have to do first is if we have anything in parentheses, we want to tackle that first, or we want to simplify that first. So to do that, we're going to do -7 plus 3. And -7 plus 3 is -4. So we get -4. And then we're going to add whatever -10 plus 6 is. -10 plus 6 is -4. So we have -4 plus -4. And -4 plus -4, in other words, is 4 minus 4. Or -4 minus 4, my apologies. And that equals -8. Now looking at our next example here, we have 100 divided by 2 multiplied by -10 minus -3. So I encourage you to pause the video and try this on your own, and let's work through it together. So remember, we always want to do what is in parentheses first. So let's do that. So we have this -10 minus -3. And because we're subtracting a negative, we do the chop rule. So really we're doing -10 plus 3. So I'm going to write 100 over 2 times, and then -10 plus 3 is -7. So now we have 100 over 2 times -7. And from here, because 100 divided by 2 is a perfect number, we're just going to divide that out. So 100 divided by 2 is 50. Let's be 50 times -7. And 50 times -7 is -350. Now, if you did this before I went through it, which I always encourage you to do, and you multiplied this -7 to this 100 as if you're multiplying fractions, you should also get the same answer. And if you didn't, you made a mistake when you multiplied this -7 and this fraction. So I encourage you to go back and retry that. So now looking at example 19, I encourage you to pause that and try to work through it on your own. And now let's go through it. So because we have this 7 plus 10 in our parentheses, we're going to want to tackle that first. So we have 5, and then 7 plus 10 is 17. So we got 5 times 17 times 4. And now since we're only dealing with multiplication, we're just going to work from left to right. So 5 times 17 is 85. That's a messy 8. There you go. And then we'll multiply that by 4. And 85 times 4 is 340. And that is our final answer. Looking at example 20, I encourage you to pause the video, like always, and work through it. But we now have parentheses within parentheses. So whenever we have parentheses within parentheses, you always tackle the innermost parentheses first. So we are going to do 6 divided by 4 first before we do anything else. So let's do that. So we have 6 times 6 minus 2 plus 3. And 6 divided by 4 isn't a whole number. So we're just going to rewrite it as 6 over 4. And remember, we're multiplying that by 3. And then we're going to put that in parentheses. And then we're going to multiply that by 9. So then from here, my next step, so we're still focusing with what's in this parentheses. And we have 6 minus 2 plus 3 times 6 over 4. So we're going to still tackle this because we are doing multiplication. So we're going to do, here, let me write this out first. We have 6 minus 2 plus 3, or not 3, plus, and then whatever this happens to be. So we're going to multiply it. We're going to do 3 times 6, which is 18. We're going to divide that by 4. And then that is not a perfect number, so we're going to keep it as is and multiply it by 9. And then we're going to work from left to right now because everything is subtraction and addition. So we're going to go like this. So we're going to have a 6. And then 6 minus 2 is 4. So we're going to have 4 plus 18 over 4 times 9. And then from here, we can add these fractions. Well, we can't right away because they don't have a common denominator. So we're going to put that over 1. And since this fraction here has a denominator 4, I'm going to make this fraction have a common denominator 4 as well by multiplying the numerator and denominator by 4. Sorry, that's kind of messy. But, so we get 6. And then times, so 4 times 4 is 16. And then 4 times 1 is 4. So I'm just going to put this entire thing over 4. And then we're going to do plus 18. Put that in parentheses and multiply it by 9. Sorry, I didn't leave too much room with this problem. There's a lot going on. But it's okay. We're almost done. So 16 plus 18. So 16 plus 18, that happens to be 34. So we're going to do 6 times 34 over 4 times 9. So now all we're dealing with is multiplication. So we're just going to move left to right. So we're going to do 6 times, well, first, we're going to put the 6 over 1. And then, here, let me write the 6 over 1. More oriented with this 34 over 4. 6, and then put that over 1. So here we can actually cross reduce and divide the 6 and 4 both by 2. So we're going to do that. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So then here we're going to do 3 times 34, which is 102. And the 1 times 2 is 2. And we're going to multiply that by 9. And then here we are multiplying another fraction. So I'm going to put this 9 over 1. And then we can't cross reduce anything, so we're just going to multiply it as is. So we're going to do 102 times 9, which is 918. And we're going to put that over 2. And since 918 is an even number, we can divide this by 2, and we will get a whole number. And that number happens to be 459. And that is our final answer. Sorry, that was a lot of work in a small problem. But we did it. Okay, so looking at that last couple examples, I encourage you to pause these and go through both of these on your own before I work through it. Because these are the grand finale order of operations problems. So if you can do them on your own without making a mistake, you're doing amazing. Okay, so let's try it. Now, assuming you've gone through it, let's go through it. So we have 4 minus 3 times 7 times 1 minus 10 squared divided by 5/7. So as always, we always tackle with what is in parentheses. So we're going to do 1 times 7, which is just 7. So we're going to do 4 minus 3 times 7 minus 10 squared. Put those in parentheses. Then we're going to divide by 5 over 7. And then from here, we have an exponent. So we're going to tackle that exponent. So we're going to do 4 minus 3 times 7 minus 10 squared, which is 100. And then we're going to divide that by 5 over 7. And then we have multiplication and division and subtraction. So we're going to start here with this multiplication, which is 3 times 7. And 3 times 7 is 21. So we have 4 minus 21 minus 100 divided by 5 over 7. And then from here, we have this division, and we have 2 subtractions. So we're going to divide. We're going to do this division, 100 divided by 5 over 7. And I'm going to do that off to the side here. So remember, when we divide, we use that keep, change, flip rule. So we're going to do 100, and this division changes to multiplication. And then we're going to flip this fraction, which is 7/5. And then I'm going to put this 100 over 1 so that we can see clearly what's going on. So from here, I can actually cross-reduce this 105. And I can divide both 105 by 5. So I'm going to do that. So we don't have to do more reducing later in the problem. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 100 divided by 5 is going to be 20. So we have 20 times 7, which is 140. We have 140. And 1 times 1 is 1, so this is 140. But remember, we're not done with the problem. All we're doing is this. So we're going to put 140 there. So it's going to be 4 minus 21 minus 140. So from here, we're going to do 4 minus 21, which happens to be negative 17. And then we're going to subtract 140 from that. And your final answer is going to be negative 157. And that is your final answer. Looking at example 22, we have 12 minus 8 divided by 4 plus these plus 6 minus 2 minus 3, all of that squared times 3. So one thing I do want to point out is that we see these weird things here. Now these are called brackets, and brackets are just another form of parentheses. So we're just going to treat these like parentheses. So if you want, you could just simply draw over them and do another set of parentheses if you want, but I encourage you not to do that just because it's always good just to see different notations that you might see in the future. Like if you're going to take a math class in the future, it might be good just to get used to some different notations. So with that being said, we now have parentheses within parentheses. So let's tackle whatever's in the innermost parentheses. And that is the 6 minus 2. Oh, there's supposed to be a parenthesis here. I made a typo because we have this parenthesis here. So we have to close that loop to close those parentheses. So, okay. Anyways, so 6 minus 2. So I'm going to write this out. So we have 12 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 6 minus 2. That is going to be 4. And then we're going to bring those brackets in and these parentheses. And then we're going to bring that minus 3 here. Bring in those brackets and then put that squared. Multiply it by 3. So we have 12 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 4 minus 3 is 1. So we're just left with 1 squared times 3. So now we have an exponent. So we're going to deal with that. So we have 1 squared, which is just 1. And then from here, we now have subtraction, division, addition, and multiplication. So we have all 4 of the operations in one. This is great. So remember, we're going to tackle multiplication and division first. And it doesn't matter whether or not we do division or multiplication first. What matters is that we start with whatever the first operation is, which is this 8 divided by 4. So I'm going to do that. So we have 12 minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then we're going to do plus 1 times 3. And then now we're going to do this 1 times 3. So we have 12 minus 2 plus 1 times 3 is 3. And then now because we're just doing subtraction and addition, we're going to simply work from left to right for the rest of the time. So 12 minus 2 is 10. And we're going to add that 3, and 10 plus 3 is 13. So that is your final answer.